Andy. Thank you for taking the time to listen to what I have to say. And I want to try and think about a discussion, because there's a lot of emotions running around, and I've tried to let people know that we have to be very careful about this. Now, I was presented a video by one of my subscribers named Silver New Jack, and thank you for the information. And I went over this video, and I'm going to show actually a little bit of a clip, but obviously due to fair use I can only show a little bit, but I will post the link in the description. Now, supposedly the video that they showed is the daughter of the man that was shot and killed. His name is Kevin, 43-year-old, supposedly handicapped. Now, if it goes by the way the video says, and the cops just gunned him down, that's a cowardly thing. The people should be not only reprimanded, they should be thrown in jail. I have a problem with certain things in the video. Now, this is just my opinion. I'm not asking people to believe what I say. All I say is watch things from an open mind. And I'm going to show just a little bit of the clip first, and of course, like I said, with fair use, I can only show a little bit of it, and I recommend you check it out for yourself and watch it in its entirety. So let's go for that part first and let you listen. Now, the person filming this, she does curse a lot, so keep that in mind for anybody that is offended by foul language. So with that being said, let's show a little bit of the clip.
Don't worry about it. I'm on book. Don't worry about it. I swear to God on everything. Don't worry about it. Come on, y'all. I don't want y'all. Come on. I know y'all have a right to be upset. Come on.
Okay, I'm only showing a little bit so you can get an idea, and I will post a link in the description. Now, I do have to say from experience, not from my father being shot, but my father dying in a fire, and I had to deal with media and things like that. The first thing I have to say is, in this video, she says about 5,000 times that her father was shot, and she's filming the entire time. Just to me, in my opinion, and each person handles things differently, so I'm only giving from my point of view, from an outsider, so bear that in mind when you're listening to what I'm saying. I find it strange that she just felt like recording the whole time, saying the same thing over and over again. Now, the problem is, this video doesn't show any evidence, and that is when you're when you're in a court, you don't want to be prosecuted for something based on hearsay, based on what people say. Now, I'm not saying what they're saying is wrong, but what I'm saying is you cannot base things on hearsay. And nowhere in this video does it show the scenario that they say, which means they could be completely right, they could be completely wrong, or it could be somewhere in the middle. So we may never even know the truth, and that's the disgusting part about this, because some party in here is not going to be completely honest, and that's a sin, and somebody lost their life, and I think it's just disgusting, first of all. But here's one of the things I have a problem with. If you scroll down on this, and you'll see the comments, this one bothers me, and this was 18 hours ago this comment was left. Support our movement by making a $5 pledge on Patreon. Now, here's where I have a problem. If a woman is so worried about the death of her father, for her, or whoever did it, who is on this channel that showed this video, and I don't know if it's hers, and I'm not going to say it is. I don't know. But I was given this link, and I'm assuming it's the person that made this video owns this channel. I could be wrong. But I have a severe problem with 18 hours ago, they already have a donation up there. To me, and this is going to be so messy with this, because it seems like no matter what people say, there's going to be people that are going to get mad. What I'm trying to say, ladies and gentlemen, is we should find out what the truth is. And whatever the truth is, if there's guilty parties involved, whether it's the cops, or the person that got shot. People should have to pay for their crimes, whatever it is. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm on either side at this point, because all we can do, ladies and gentlemen, is speculate. But there's a lot of presumptions, there's a lot of hatred coming out of this. And I have a problem with that. That is the part we need to focus on, because in this whole thing, she's not screaming that the cops shot her husband. Well, I'm sorry, husband, her father. She's screaming that the white man did it. And that is going to lead in a very dangerous scenario. Emotions are running high, and it is justified. Obviously, when I found out that my father died in a fire, I wasn't jumping up and down for joy. And I cannot say I could feel the same pain as somebody that had their father potentially murdered. But the problem is, there is no proof in this video of what happened. It is only based on what people are saying. And I'm not saying they're lying, but we cannot verify it. And that is the problem with a lot of these events that go all over the place, that they become very tragic, and it's based on what other people's information are. Now, she could be misinformed. I'm not saying that the person's lying. I'm not going to say that because I don't know. But on the other end of it, we cannot point fingers in the opposite direction. If we become so chaotic that we are going to automatically judge a situation before you know all the facts, then there is no sense of having a court system. It's going to be total anarchy, and people will just take the law in their own hands. And that's what you see with these riots right now. Now, there were some interesting conversations I had with some people today, and one of them, and I'm not going to say any names because I don't want any anger or anything like that, but they were talking about how, back in the 1700s, there were problems with our people hurting others. Now, and they said, you have to research history more. Well, first of all, I can't learn everything. Nobody learns everything. And if you have to go back to the 1700s to know that killing people is wrong or hurting people is wrong, obviously, you just don't get it. It's the message of what's going on here today. What is happening is this is a severe situation, and it is creating a severe divide and conquer in an already delicate time. And what I am saying, ladies and gentlemen, is that I don't have the answers, but neither do any of the people that are making these videos, unless you have video proof that could prove what you're saying. It is nothing more than hearsay. And I'm sure if you were in court for attempted murder or for murder, and they were going to judge you based on what somebody said they saw without any evidence, I think you would really be concerned at that point. So what I'm saying is, ladies and gentlemen, before we start torturing everybody, before we start pointing fingers, before we start wanting to injure people and continue these riots that are not going to help solve the problem, nor will it help bring the person back, we can find out what the facts are to the best of our ability, and then the people who wronged should be punished. Now, let me tell you something. As a white male, I am not proud of any cop that is going to shoot anybody, let alone, especially if the person is crippled and was reading a book. Now, just to me, as nice as that, just something does not seem right. It doesn't make sense that a person who's handicapped sitting in a car just reading their book would all of a sudden have a cop come and just shoot them. It doesn't sound right. I'm not saying that's not the case. There could have been a crooked cop or something, but we don't know the facts, and just to me, logic states that there would have to be a reason for what the cops did. Because if he did it for no reason, that cop who pulled the trigger should get the electric chair. I don't care what color or race or what, if he's male or female or whatever, I wouldn't care. If there was a person that literally took a gun and shot a person reading a book, whether they were handicapped or not, whether they were black or not, and they shot them in cold blood for no reason whatsoever, that person should get the electric chair the next day. I just question that it happened that way. And what is wrong with questioning things? This should not have anything to do with race. Because, ladies and gentlemen, Like one of my subscribers said, we are all under one race, and that's called the human race. And unless we start thinking in that way, there's going to be all of this anger, all of this hatred, all of this assumption. Now, if it happened the way this woman on this video says, then my heart goes out to this woman. But we should not be afraid to question things. We cannot assume with so many different events, like what happened in Orlando and what happened with Sandy Hook and all these different scenarios. We cannot just take it at face value of what's being said without proof. And that's all I'm asking for. And if that makes people angry because I want proof so we can get the right people to be imprisoned, then I'm not going to apologize. And I think this is a very dangerous situation, a very delicate time period. And we have to show we are better. Don't let that individual die in vain by creating more destruction. And like I said in my other video, for people to throw rocks over a bridge and cheer when they hit innocent people, how does that make them any better than what happened to this gentleman if the story that they say is true? Blaming it on white people, that's a dangerous road to take. That is not going to lead anywhere good. And we need to really start to sit down and talk to these people. We need voices of reason. We cannot live this way. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot live this way. So I'm going to post the link to the video in the description. You check it out. You draw your own conclusions. All I'm saying is, in that video, there is a person saying the same thing over and over again and yet has not only time to repeatedly film nonstop, but as there's a donation for the cause 18 hours ago. Not for nothing, when my father died in the fire, I wasn't looking for donations. I wasn't looking to make YouTube videos. I was mourning the loss of my father. Now, of course, each person handles this differently. And because my situation is not the same as what they could have went through, I have to take that into consideration. But there's just, if you cannot get the whole picture and we make assumptions of what could be, then that is why we could be easily and potentially led. Because something sounds right, because somebody said it. And that's the shame. We may never find out the real truth. And that is a shame. Because I don't care what color you are. I don't care what race you are. I don't care what you believe in. If you commit a heinous crime like this, if that is the case, you should be thrown in jail. At the very least. But we have to make sure justice is done the right way. Because if we don't have any form of real law, and I'm talking about law where, we do the right thing, and we're heading down a dangerous road. So all I'm asking for is people out there is to stop the emotion, put the emotion aside. It's not always easy, but if we go down this path of this hatred and this violence and this desire to now want to take out anger on our fellow human beings, take it out on the wrong people, innocent people that had nothing to do with it, then how are we any better than the pieces of garbage who created this in the first place? There are two sides to every story. And if we just listen to one side without hearing the other, to me that's more of an agenda. And I'm sorry if there are some people out there that can't handle that, but I guarantee you, if you were in court, you would want a fair trial. You would want all evidence presented. You would not want to have your life in balance based on what somebody said. Because things can be made up. Things can be misinterpreted. So if we don't have real law, then this country and this world is doomed. And if we want to spend the rest of our days fighting and hating each other instead of finding a way to work together, then it's a sad road that we're leading down. And there are plenty of religious people out there. Let me tell you something. If you believe in Jesus, of all the people on this planet, he probably had one of the better reasons to want to seek revenge when he had his followers betray him and have him placed on a cross to die and stabbed with a spear, left there for days to bleed to death. And yet his last words were, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." And there's a lot of people being very hypocritical right now. All lives matter. Get that through your heads. All lives matter. And if this person, if this guy Kevin, this 43-year-old man, if he truly was just reading a book, and he truly was gunned down, like they claim, then the people who did it will get what they deserve. But to punish others by stealing and looting and throwing rocks at cars and doing other damage is not going to make things better. I don't think that's what that gentleman would want. I wouldn't want that. So I would love to hear your opinions. Now, this is a very emotional thing. If we cannot discuss things like adults, and all we do is nitpick and argue and fight and just say, "Oh, I don't want to hear it because I believe in my side." If you cannot think logically, then we are doomed as a species. And we deserve what will ultimately happen to us. But if we can get past this and show we are better than the people who start these things, then we have a fighting chance, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm asking you to dig down deep in your hearts and really find out truth, not basing it on a video that may or may not be true. It sounds good, it sounds legitimate. It just, if you watch the whole video, it makes me have that tingling sensation inside that says something is not right. And I could be wrong, but I trust my instincts. Is this another false flag? Who knows? Is this another situation where things are not always as they seem? It sure seems that way. It seems like there's going to be a race war coming, and that is unfortunate, because nobody's coming out the victor with that. We all lose on the black side and on the white side, because who do you think's going to step in? The military. They're going to create martial law. They're going to lock both of our species up. Both of our races up. They're going to shoot both of our races. When it boils down to hatred, to the point where you want to hurt others that were not involved, I can understand. Let's say, for example, wrong is wrong, but let's say, for example, they saw the cop that shot this person, and they shot this person in cold blood. I can see the anger and the frustration they would have, and maybe even want to literally murder the person that did it. But to hurt others that had nothing to do with it, and to spread hatred by saying all white people are the devil, or if it was the other way around, if some white person said all black people are the devil, you cannot lump everybody into a category. I'm not going to apologize for being a white person, but I'm also going to say that I believe in everybody. I don't believe in evil. And there's got to be a chance where we stand up and we find truth and we do it the right way, because then we cannot be any better. If you're going around murdering people and hurting people and stealing from people for whatever reason, you are not doing what whatever religion you believe in is preaching. Anger is controlling people, and I've been warning people about this for years. How easily they can lead people down a path when they just get you emotionally involved. You will not listen, you will not think, you will not rationalize, you will just react. And this is yet another result of that. And that's a dangerous road, ladies and gentlemen. You are free to choose anything you want. You could sit here and listen to this and say I'm full of crap and I don't know what I'm talking about. But if you want to wish harm on me because I have the right to an opinion, then we are definitely going down a very dangerous road. So I wish we could find a better way to find truth. I don't like the fact that that channel has 18 hours ago a movement asking for donations that quick after this supposedly happened. So I question that, and I have the right to question that. The truth shall set you free, and I'm going to leave it at that. So if we cannot come together as human beings, we are in a lot of trouble. I don't hate anybody because of the color of their skin. I don't hate anybody because of who they believe in as a religion. I don't care about who you choose to love, as long as there is love. Guys, gals, we have to show the people that control this world that we are better than this. What happened is a tragedy, whether it happened the way they're claiming, or whatever happened that created what's about to happen. We have to get race out of this. There are good people and there are bad people. That's what we should focus on. There are good white people, there are bad white people. There are good black people, there are bad black people. There are good Hispanic people, there are bad Hispanic people. There are good Asian people, there are bad Asian people. We cannot lump everybody. And that's why I've even said when people talk about, oh, the Jewish people are controlling the media and controlling everything. No, it's a certain faction of it that's doing it. We cannot blame everybody. Just like it wasn't every person in Germany that was creating the problems during World War II.